Shalom Chaverim. Today Parashat Beha'alotcha, and we're going to do it with the help of Dante, of all people, and the Divine Comedy. And just a note that these are pretty tense times right now, which seems to come more often than we think lately. And one thought about being anchored in Torah, that despite hard and tense times, just keeps coming back and keeps repeating in an endless cycle that keeps our minds and our souls flowing and interpreting and thinking. So let's take a moment, all of us, to just live outside and do some Torah. So let's actually begin right away by reading a little bit from here. The Divine Comedy was written by Dante Alighieri, and it's basically early 14th century. This is medieval poetry. It's a narrative poem. And today we're going to talk about flesh. It's going to be our topic. And flesh obviously connects to lust. And for Dante, lust is one of the 7 deadly sins, and lust is what make people find themselves in inferno, which is hell, and then also in purgatory, and something that they have to repent to for long cycles of suffering in order to get to paradise, to heaven, which is the progression of the poem as well. So let's read a little bit from the first part from Inferno, about a story of a couple that actually was caught cheating and murdered on the spot, and those two murdered lovers found themselves in Inferno and shared their story with Dante, and their story was so moving to him that he actually fainted hearing that story. So Francesca, who is the woman, saying, "Love, which in gentlest hearts will soonest bloom, seized my lover with passion for that sweet body, from which I was torn, unshriven to my doom. Love, which permits no loved one not to love, took me so strongly with delight in him that we are one in hell, as we were above." And I think what's so important about these lines is that love and lust and passion are also bringing those poor souls into their doom or into hell. And there's constant tension between that passion for the flesh and between passion that should have been directed above. And interestingly enough, our Torah portion of Beha'alotcha, according to some interpretations, not all of them, actually views lust as a positive thing. And so let's see how. And this really going to present us with two really opposing points of view. So, in our portion it says, והאספסוף אשר בקרבו התאוו תאווה, וישובו ויבכו גם בני ישראל ויאמרו מי יאכילנו בשר. Okay, what does it mean? The riffraff in their midst, this is the JPS translation, the riffraff, ha'asafsuf, that word is basically, asafsuf comes from the word sof. So these are the people who were in the back of the camp. Now, the back of the camp could be the riffraff, but some other translations suggest that those were the rabbis. Those were actually the people in the back, the most important people. So depending how you read it, but they felt a gluttonous craving, hit'avu ta'ava. And then the Israelites wept and said, if only we had meat to eat. Mi ya'achilenu basar, which could be translated also to who will feed us meat. So Rashi asks, wait a minute, something doesn't add up. Why are they complaining that they don't have meat if we clearly are told in Exodus that the Erev Rav, basically when they came out of Egypt, they actually came out with lots of cattle. They had animals to serve in meat consumption. So what, were they lying? Rashi asks. I don't understand. They did have meat. And Rashi kind of leaves it as an open question. Ramban, Nachmanides, tries to answer it and said, no, it's not that they didn't have meat at all. They ate meat, but only sometimes and only on special occasions. And when they did eat meat, it was involving a lot of work and a part of the sacrifices. So basically they had to butcher it in a certain way, and certain parts of it were being taken to sacrifice, and it was a lot of work and ritual. And what they wanted is they eat meat chinam, meaning to eat meat for free, to eat meat just to eat it without the sacrifice, without the special occasion, without the work. So this is what Nachmanides is suggesting. But we have a 19th century Hasidic rabbi, Yehuda Aryeh Leib Alter, also known as the Sfat Emet, and he offers a really interesting Hasidic interpretation. By the way, if you're interested in Sfat Emet, here at the Nister, there's this wonderful book which basically brings a concise translation of commentary on all the parashot. So it is right here for Sfat Emet. So let's see what Sfat Emet is saying. ברש"י מי האכילנו בשר, והלא היה להם מקנה רב, רק שמבקשים עלילה. So basically what Sfat Emet is saying here, he goes to Rashi and he says, I'm going to take up Rashi's challenge. Okay, were they lying? We know that they had meat. So he starts like this. וכאשר מהיה לעלילה יש מאחר שהיה להם, אך יש לומר דכתיב התאוו תאווה, ומשמע שלא היה להם תאווה, שהיו למעלה מהטבע, חירות מיצר הרע. Okay, so I will translate and explain. So what Sfat Emet is saying is that when they are asking for ta'ava, or for flesh, they are asking for desire, because they did not have desire at all. What Sfat Emet is suggesting is that the Israelites in the desert, with eating the manna, were above this world, were pure. They did not have any earthly desires, nor here and not there. They didn't have any desires to commit sins, but they didn't also have a desire to ecstatically worship God. They were just sort of numb creatures. However, what was happening is as they got closer to the promised land, as they were about to end their journey, and in the promised land they were actually about to come to this world and live the earthly physical life that is full of desires and challenging, they started to feel the need for desire. And what they were asking is, we want to feel something. And in the portion, it continues with זכרנו את הדגה אשר נאכל במצרים חינם את הקישואים ואת האבטיחים ואת החציר ואת האוצלים ואת השומים. So they're remembering what they ate in Egypt, and then they say, ועתה נפשנו יבשה, אין כל בלתי אל המן עינינו. Translating, now our gullets are shriveled, there is nothing at all, nothing but this manna to look to. And there's a beautiful phrase here, nafshenu yevesha. So here again in JPS it's translated to our gullets are shriveled, but nafshenu, nefesh, soul, yevesha is basically what they're saying is our souls had dried up. And Sfat Emet says, ולכך נראה להם שנכון שיהיה להם תאווה ושיזכו לעשות נחת רוח להשם יתברך על ידי שיאכלו בקדושה ואף בשר גשמי, וזה שנפשנו יבשה שלא קיימו בכל נפשכם. So what Sfat Emet is saying, look, remember the ואהבת, right? ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. נפשך, nefesh, you have to love God with all your soul. But how can you love God with all your soul when your soul is dried? So basically what he's saying, in order to fulfill, to fully worship God, you have to have desire. You have to have desire, and not just that, you have to have desire to overcome. And this is why the Israelites are asking for that. At a later point, Dante writes, and so that you may understand me clearly, I tell you why this terror tries us so, and what the fire means that we walk through. This place corrects the misdirected love that turned to earth what should be turned to heaven. So what is this place in Dante's is purgatory? So basically, it's this place should really cleanse us from this lust, and really said that we made a mistake. We directed our lust to earth, whereas we should directed it to heaven. But the Hasidic chidush here, what the Hasidim is saying to Dante, is saying, no, you must direct your lust to earth. You must engage in earthly desires. So you will have something to overcome. So you will have something to then make your worship worthwhile. And just to conclude a little bit of a Hebrew lettering, so the word basar, flesh, which is bet sin resh, basar, holds the root to the word besorah. Besorah means news or deliverance. But also, it is the same letters in the word shevel, which is crack, or mashber, which is crisis. So basically, basar, besorah, crisis, what our Torah is telling us, we have to have tava, we have to have lust, we have to have flesh, so we can receive the news, the besorah of life. And so, and that besorah of life is the life of crises, is the life of cracking, is the life of what we need to overcome and what we were meant to overcome. And every time that we do so, then we might feel that we are a tiny step closer to the divine. Shabbat shalom and be safe.